By the end of this week, all planets will be direct, which means you have cosmic clearance for a brand new beginning. Good morning, my loves. My name is Comet. This is Magic Monday. Welcome to your astrological weather forecast for the week of January 16th to January 25th. What this week's astrology has in store, and furthermore, how you can synchronize with these celestial influences in order to live with more magic and more alignment. And I am here every single week in my cosmic corner with my cosmic cup of coffee, which P.S. no judgment. Okay, I had a gift card. And I'm here every single week, but this is an extra special week. And these are my favorite forecasts to do because I truly do have excellent news, my love. So you have clicked on to a week's astrology that is truly powerful, truly pivotal, truly turning point energy that you're gonna want to synchronize yourself to, because this is the brand new beginning that you've been craving. If you found the beginning of the year, you've just been really busy, maybe you have the retrograde blues, all your technology isn't working, you've been having travel delays, you've been having communication issues, you've been having a lack of motivation, whatever it's been. If you've just been waiting for a brand new start, my love, it has arrived. It is this week. We'll be chatting through all of the facets of this brand new beginning, from Mercury stationing direct, Uranus stationing direct, the Aquarius new moon over the weekend, the Pluto Cazimi midweek. Before I dive in, I just want to make my final announcement, my final invitation, my love. I'm so excited to be putting on a free workshop for you guys. It's called Align. It's all about the overall collective energy within 2023, the first day, and the second day I break it down into your chart, into your sign, where it is that you can experience the most growth in the year 2023, where you can experience and anticipate some hardships and challenges. And just like every other facet of what it is that I do, yes, it's the astrology of the year ahead, but truly through the lens of how it is that you can co-create with it, how it is that you can really integrate the lessons that the cosmos are bringing to your awareness, how it is that you can move towards the opportunities that the cosmos is thrusting your way. So I would so love to see you there. It's a totally free offering that is available both free as well as recorded. We're doing it over the Aquarius new moon, which we'll be chatting through in a second, why this Aquarius new moon is so powerful and why I chose to do it on this lunation. So you can RSVP below. It'll be January 20th, January 21st, 10:30 a.m. PST, though it's also available recorded, my love. So I'll see you there. And without further ado, let's take it into vibe check of the week. Before I do, let me know what you guys are sipping on today. Truly, I'm not a Starbucks girl. I was just trying to clean space in my wallet and get rid of some gift cards that I just have in there. I ordered it hot. It came iced, but I'm never gonna say anything because I've been a barista, so I know you have to remake the entire thing because then the consistency is different, and it's honestly really delightful. So it is all good. But, and who knows if I even said hot. Like, it is Mercury Retrograde at the time of filming this, so I might have just mentally thought hot. Who knows? But Mercury is changing directions this week. So if you also have been ordering the wrong thing or just been having frustrating delays or mix-ups or anything of the nature, my love, the tide is turning. So here on Magic Monday, we start our weekly forecast with Vibe Check of the Week, which is essentially when we translate all of the astrological events, so every single ingress and station and aspect, and liken it to a real life scenario, so that even if you don't know the intricacies of these astrological components, you can begin to tune into some of the themes and how they can come to the surface within your universe. And this week's astrology feels like standing up for yourself. And standing up for yourself, particularly after a prolonged period of not doing so, a prolonged period of your boundaries being tested, a prolonged period of you being overworked, a prolonged period of you being bullied or pressured, or however this energy comes to the surface. I want you to think of a scenario, a time in your life when you stood up for yourself, when you stood your ground, even when it was scary, when you remembered your power, even when someone else wanted you to feel as disempowered as possible. A time that you finally decided, hey, enough is enough. I don't have to take this and I shan't any longer. And the reason why this week's astrology feels like this scenario, finally standing your ground, finally telling your boss, no, I can't work late, or finally telling that friend who's constantly pressuring you to do things, no, I do not want to. Maybe it's like a family member or something of that nature, finally holding your ground, like, no, you can only stay for 2 weeks. Whatever it is, this sort of week is around setting a boundary, standing in our power, and thus initiating a brand new powerful beginning. Firstly, we have Sun conjunct Pluto. Pluto is the planet of power, okay? And when Sun and Pluto are at the same degree, it essentially is a cazimi. They're fused together. And Sun is our ego, it's our identity. And with Pluto coming into the Sun's rays, it's essentially this reminder around remembering the person that we are, okay? Remembering the power that you hold outside of how it is that others try to exert power over you, outside of other individuals peer pressuring you and bullying you to be someone that you are not. It's essentially this cosmic cue around remembering the power of the person that we are in our eccentricities, in our unique facets. Because this weekend we have this powerful new moon, because the Aquarius new moon conjoins Pluto, even though it's out of sign, it is technically conjunction, and then trines Mars and sextiles Jupiter. So there's like this brand new beginning forming when we're able to kind of anchor into the person that we are, outside of the pressure of other people, what other people want from us, of the mold of what other people want to force us into. There's this energy around, I have a brand new start here because I'm anchoring into the person that I am with the boundaries that I have, and I'm not going to allow myself to be fenced in by what it is that you want me to be, because the energy of Aquarius is very much that way. It's all about marching to the beat of our own drum, honoring and owning our weird, right? And then the day after that Aquarius new moon, we have Uranus shifting directions. My love, Uranus is the planet of rebellion and individuality. So it's this energy around really questioning how we have conformed and molded and sort of like contorted ourselves in order to fit the mold of what other people wanted us to be, of what society wanted us to be, of what our work wanted us to be. And with Uranus changing directions, there's almost this rebellion where it's like, enough. I'm not fitting into your mold. I'm making my own mold. I'm standing up for myself. I'm remembering my power. And of course, we're all going to feel this influence within different ways. Some of you can be feeling it as it relates to work, really needing to assert yourself, stand up for your ideas, feel comfortable arising to a position of power. Some can feel it within their friendships, within their family relationships, needing to assert a certain boundary. Like, no, I won't go out with you guys and I'm not going to be peer pressured. Like, I can't, I have something important tomorrow. This is my boundary. Or maybe you're feeling it internally. Like maybe this is energy where you've stretched and contorted yourself just to fit the expectations of what society wanted you to do, of what was the normal thing to do, like taking the safe route or something of that nature. And with Sun Pluto, it's like, remember your power. Remember the person that you are. Remember all of those facets that you felt like were weird and like pushed down and hid. Like that is part of your power. And this week's astrology is a divine reminder of the beauty of being polarizing, okay? And befriending the word polarize. Because Uranus and Pluto are not the cookie cutter palatable planets, right? It's the energy that is a little spiky. It doesn't fit into the peg that's been assigned. It challenges convention. It challenges how things are done. And I think that's important for ourselves to remember, because if you felt this energy individually, where it's like, I've tried to be everything to everybody. I've tried to be liked by everybody. I've tried to do the people-pleasing thing, and all it's got me is just drained and exhausted, right? This is the energy around taking your power back, being like, I don't care about pleasing every single person. Let's flip the script. What if I please myself first, right? What would that look like? Because the thing about Pluto energy and Uranus energy, both of them truly in different ways, but the thing about both of them is that there are going to be many people who look at your offering, who look at your magic, who look at your essence and are like, okay, that's too much for me. And if you try to dilute your essence to appeal to everybody, you dilute it for the audience and the people who could benefit from seeing you live fiercely and firmly into your authenticity. I always say this when I talk about Uranus, but I'm like, Uranus is the archetype of the genius and the archetype of the weirdo, because oftentimes those are one and the same, right? The individuals that are looked at as strange are typically before their time. People don't quite get it, right? Or they just aren't meant to get it. Not everybody's going to resonate with you, and then it's totally fine. So this week's astrology essentially asks you to remember the person that you are, stand fiercely and firmly within your power, go deep enough to realize other people's power plays or manipulation tactics of trying to get you to fit in a particular mold, And even if it's a little spiky, even if it's a little unpredictable, even if it's seen as a little weird or strange or out of the norm, I want you to call your power back and stand fiercely and firmly within it. So welcome to your astrology forecast for Monday, January 16th, also MLK Jr. Day. So Monday is the day that is governed by the moon, the luminary of nurturing and nourishment. And that nurturing and nourishing that we are craving is kind of nowhere to be found on Monday, but it is not all bad, okay? But hear me out. The moon is in her detriment of Scorpio all day on Monday, and this plunges us deep into our emotions, and particularly the emotions that we would rather avoid and that maybe during other portions of the lunar cycle are a little bit easier to avoid or not face head on. Like Scorpio is intense, right? It can feel to be too much. And I know Scorpio placements hear that a lot. Like, you're too much, you're too intense, you feel too strong. And there can also be an energy on Monday where we can feel like we are too much, like we're being too dramatic or our emotions are too much, they need to be suppressed. And my advice for you truly in this waning moon week, because we just passed the last quarter moon, so now the moon, every day when you look up at the sky until the new moon on Saturday, the moon will get smaller and smaller and smaller and get more and more into a sliver. And this is the moon phase that is all about releasing and processing and shedding. So granting yourself the space on Monday, if you need to make little things a big deal, do it, right? If you need to cry because you spilled ketchup on your shirt, that is fine. If you need to reread old letters and cry about it, that is fine. Like, we're still in Mercury Retrograde, so there is a little bit of nostalgic, and a lot of times when a lot comes to the surface before a new moon, that typically means that it's going to be a very powerful, impactful lunation for you, right? So if you find that you are extra emotional this week, all of this stuff is coming to the surface, there's all of these emotional processes or these arenas of your life that you're ready to release, know that this weekend's new moon could be a really powerful fresh start for you. So embrace the contrast of where it is that you are now and where it is that you want to go. Embrace the contrast of really feeling into the sad so that you really grant yourself to the space to really appreciate and anchor in those happies. Really strive on Monday to allow yourself to feel those emotions in their totality rather than trying to distract yourself or feed yourself out of it, because the Scorpio moon does square Venus, and this can sometimes be an energy around looking for things to fill the void around what it is that we're feeling. Let me just buy something so I feel something. Let me eat this muffin so I feel something. Let me just do something so I don't have to deal with this stuff. And obviously, dealing with uncomfortable emotions is not always pleasant, but I would just strive to be as present as you can with them, just understanding, okay, this is coming to the surface. I'm just going to really be in this moment totally. I'm going to be as dramatic as I want. Like, I'm not too much at all. And I keep highlighting this energy around, not feeling too much, because the Scorpio moon does square Venus on Monday. And in addition to us trying to look towards sweet things or purchases or swiping on a dating app just to feel something, like, that's the energy of moon square Venus, looking for all of these avenues to get out of what it is that we're feeling. There's also this energy with moon square Venus where we can feel like socially awkward around people, maybe like being at a meeting and making a joke and everybody looks at you weird and you're just like, oh, am I too much? Is my sense of humor too much? There's just this energy where we just can feel like whether we're feeling too much, our sense of humor is too intense, we are too clumsy. There's just this energy where we don't totally feel like we're seeing eye to eye with the people around us and our connections. Maybe you come to your partner with a situation and they're like, you're being dramatic, like something of that nature. I would just advise, Monday is not the day that I would say negotiation and collaboration are particularly favored, especially with the bookend aspects, which are the moon opposing Uranus in the morning. So your morning could get off to an unexpected start, hindrances, things not going according to plan, because it's important. Even though Scorpio is the sign of transformation, it's still a fixed sign, right? They still do crave control. So it could be an energy around feeling out of control of your life because things aren't going exactly according to plan. Even if it's as micro as, you burnt your toast in the morning or you spilt ketchup on your shirt, right? Those little things that just make you feel out of control, because there's a tendency to want to make it a catastrophe on Monday. And I want you to make it a catastrophe if need be, like make it a big deal if you need to go in the bathroom and cry, if you need to go on a run and listen to sassy music, just get it out of your system. There's just an energy where the control that we're craving over our own emotions, like we're not totally able to find it. And with a square to Saturn later that night, things just feel a little harder. It feels to be that we're more apt to focus on the challenges and the hardships that we're seeing. I would say our little bit of grace when it comes to lunar aspects on Monday is the Scorpio moon trining Neptune. Give yourself permission to daydream, whether it's at work, daydream about, I wish I was on an island with a Mai Tai, or being able to listen to an album that just like transports you into a different world. Like there's almost this energy where world can just feel more mundane and just more blah and more annoying, that we're not even able to like hone in on all the loveliness around us. So grant yourself permission to sort of cultivate that, whether it's daydream about it, whether it's getting lost in a piece of artwork, whether it's like really honing in and really calling out, I'm so grateful for this. Even though I've had such a bad day and I spilled ketchup on the shirt, I'm so grateful that I had the money to buy ketchup. Like striving and reaching for those little excuses to feel grateful or to feel connected to something bigger. Not always easy. And if you're not there, if you can't pick out what it is that you're grateful for, I give you full permission. Pin some stuff on Pinterest of what it is that you want. Fantasize about where you'd rather be. Go into a movie or an album that transports you, and just know, my love, it is a bad day. It is not a bad life. And if it is intense, if a lot's come to the surface, it just means that your fresh new start on Saturday is going to be all the more pivotal. So hang in there. So on Tuesday, I would advise not doing anything terribly important in between the time of 6:27 a.m. to 9:33 a.m. as the moon is void of Aquarius, which essentially just means a time that's not super opportune as it relates to anything important. And the closing aspects are really nice though, like that Scorpio moon sextiles Sun and sextiles Pluto, because Sun and Pluto are building to their conjunction. So it's essentially this energy around remembering our own power, remembering our own truth. Like embrace those emotions of feeling too much, okay? At least you're something, right? Rather than asking, am I too much? Ask other people, are you enough? Like with the energy essentially of Scorpio sextiling Sun and Pluto, it's reminding ourselves around our own authenticity, around the power that comes when you face the things that you would rather avoid, that would be easier to avoid. And so if you are somewhere else in the world where that's not quite so early as it is here on the West Coast, I would say this is an aligned time to do things that make you feel powerful. And then the tone drastically shifts when the moon enters Sagittarius at 9:33. It takes us into our big picture, what it is that grants us a sense of meaning. Like Sagittarius essentially is depicted by the arrow, because with the archer, it's essentially having our arrow point in the distance and following what it is that gives us a sense of meaning, what it is that is exciting us about life at this moment. The sensation of Sagittarius is consistent growth, right? It's ruled by Jupiter, the largest planet in the solar system. So Sagittarius placements are fueled by this desire around more and deeper and new experiences and learning, and this consistent desire to mark our life in terms of, am I growing? Am I closer than I was? Because oftentimes when we get to what it was that we want, we find these brand new desires have emerged, right? And Sagittarius is about finding that sense of meaning within that pursuit, finding that sense of optimism as we grow to be the person that we are meant to be. So on Tuesday, I just want you to feel those good feelings around, I'm so excited to grow in these arenas. This is feeling so good to me at this present moment, as well as to look at your world through the lens of, if you were the Midas of your reality, what would you put energy towards? If everything that you touched turned to gold, what would you do? What would you create? Who would you reach out to? What friendships would you prioritize? What work projects would you prioritize? Look at your world through the lens of growth, through where within the big picture of your world you are feeling the most excited and motivated in order to grow towards. Because the Sagittarius moon builds to trine Jupiter in Aries. Now, we can be a little reckless or a little over optimistic, but outside of that, I just want you to look at your world and just really observe, where am I feeling really excited to grow? And with the sun getting closer and closer to Pluto, right, the planet of transformation, I believe having this Sagittarius and Jupiter energy within the cosmos right now is very helpful, because obviously it's Capricorn season. The following day is Sun conjunct Pluto in Capricorn, so we could be feeling suffocated or feeling the weight around our own high expectations of ourselves or other people's expectations of us, right? Because Capricorn is energy that focuses upon the end result, achievement, success, what it would look like to ascend to the top of our own ability. Sagittarius and Jupiter energy views our world and our growth through this growth-oriented perspective around granting ourselves a space to be a work in progress and to be excited about that rather than to feel suffocated by that, to feel excited about everywhere that we are learning and what it is that we're moving towards, because that's what life is about, is around the pursuit of becoming, right? Not already having arrived. The pursuit of being excited around, this is feeling really good at this particular moment. This is exciting me at this particular moment. This project is feeling exceptionally aligned at this moment. And not to feel like we already have to be there at the end result. Allowing yourself the space to tune into, I am so excited to grow this business. And while I do have high expectations for what is that I will expect from myself, I'm having so much fun figuring it out. I'm having so much fun learning A, B, and C. I'm feeling so motivated by these client relationships. On Tuesday, expand what in your life is really exciting you, what it is that you're motivated to move towards. Maybe for some of you, it's observing, because this is a waning moon, day. We're building to the new moon over the weekend. Maybe for some of you, you're tuning into the Sagittarius moon desire for freedom and observing what is no longer lighting you up. Certain responsibilities that it's like, okay, this is what I feel like I should do or what other people want me to do, but I'm realizing it doesn't add to my own big picture. I don't feel like I'm growing and developing in this arena, and viewing our life in terms of what it is that we feel motivated to grow into or to perhaps evolve past. Like my love, we'll chat more about this on Sun conjunct Pluto, but the energy of Pluto is about destruction and rebirth. And essentially all of the mini deaths that we have to have in order to live, right? The constant desire of evolution and reinvention. And you could look at that and feel scared and cling to what is. I don't know, this isn't feeling in alignment, but I'm scared what the next chapter will require of me. But it's almost like this Sagittarius moon trining Jupiter is giving us a push to be like, and that's the fun of it, that you don't know. And really with Tuesday's astrology, it's like almost this energy and this call to remove whatever is sort of threatening our desire for freedom, or whatever is stagnating our growth, whatever makes you feel stuck, like you can't grow here any longer. So maybe it's gaining awareness. Again, I wouldn't quit your job, like let's wait until the retrograde planets are fully direct, like let's take a beat. But I do want you to tune in to what it is that you're ready to release. What is hindering your sensation of freedom? What is hindering your sensation of growth? Maybe it's a job that's kept you stagnant. Maybe it's a relationship that's kept you stagnant. And that clarity can be very valuable at this time around where is it that I'm growing and I have room to grow and expansion to grow, and where am I feeling stuck? Where is my growing done, right? And to grant yourself that space to tune into it. I will say, just in terms of a practical note on Tuesday, it's very aligned around big picture planning. I will say you can be a little overly optimistic, a little bit more subject towards going to excess. So when it comes to Sagittarius moon opposing Mars, we can be a little bit too reactive or lash out a little too quickly based on our emotional landscape. So just important to keep your eye on that, because if there's one thing Sagittarius is going to do, it's tell the truth, right? So with the Sagittarius moon, it's beautiful. It grants us the truth to be able to like look at, hey, this arena of my life really isn't serving me. Hey, I'm not really feeling free to expand in this arena because I feel so weighted by all that's on my plate. It grants us the freedom to be truthful with ourselves and with others, but just be mindful with the Sag moon opposing Mars. We can be a little too snappy when it comes to emotionally reacting, as well as to acting on our impulses. A coworker comes to you and it's like, let's ditch work and go get margaritas. And it's like, okay. Just saying, while this is an optimistic energy, we could be a little too optimistic. Like be like, my boss won't mind if I'm gone for margaritas, 3 margaritas later, realizing that's not necessarily the case. So just keep an eye on your impulses, certainly on Tuesday. So on Wednesday, January 18th, Wednesday is governed by Mercury, and what a glorious Mercury's day indeed, because Mercury stations direct on Wednesday, wrapping up a story that has been playing out since December 29th of 2022. Now I have all signs Mercury retrograde video that you want to take a look just to tune into what was this energy trying to bring to my awareness, right? You could be expecting sort of a call to tune into your future rather than rehash the past. There's this forward momentum, my love, and this is sort of reiterated and echoed by Sun conjunct Pluto. It happens around the same time. With Sun conjunct Pluto, Sun is essentially casting a spotlight to Pluto, which is transformation. So it's almost this call. With Mercury retrograde, we can find we're a little bit more nostalgic, we're a little bit more sentimental, reminiscing on the past, on how far we've come. And now with Sun conjunct Pluto, it's almost like this cosmic reminder to be like, snap into focus and be like, okay, no more reminiscing, let's move forward, because that's the only direction that life goes in, is forward. And we can reminisce and grieve over the past versions of ourselves. We can reminisce and grieve over the past iterations that our life has taken shape. But alas, Life only moves in one direction, and that is forward. And that can be terrifying or that can be freeing. You get to pick. And Pluto is the planet of power. So with Sun conjunct Pluto, it's essentially asking us to really step into our power, because Pluto is earned power, my love. And earned power is when you have the ability to go through the fire and come out the other end. When you have the ability to rebuild, to reinvent yourself, right? That is where true power lies. And it's almost around facing that fear, like in our vibe check, around standing up for yourself, around the certain consequences that could come to the surface, around if I stand up for myself, this person might break up with me, right? If I stand up for myself, this coworker might want to be taken off this job. But I just want to highlight, obviously, I don't want you to be overbearing, but with Sun conjunct Pluto, it just reminds you around any connection or anything in your life that makes you be smaller is not an environment that you need to be in. And I do want to say, while this is a powerful time to stand up for yourself, to remember your power, this almost energy around, I'm tired of making myself smaller around you. I'm going to stand my ground. I'm going to hold and stay into my power, right? Even if our relationship typically thrives when I'm smaller, right? That's uncomfortable. But I do want to highlight for some individuals, who are not feeling powerful, they will try to be overbearing or harassing or bullying. Like, that's something so fascinating as you get older that you really tune into, is those who try to pick at you or those who try to lord their power over you. Typically that's coming from them not feeling powerful themselves, right? So I just want to highlight on Wednesday, really spotlight people's manipulation tactics or power plays or attempts to lord their power, their control over you, right? And remember your own, because when I'm talking about this idea of standing up for yourself, I'm saying standing and holding your ground around, this is who I am, these are my boundaries, and that's that. I'm not going to threaten you, I'm not going to challenge you. You live in your reality, but this is where I stand. This is who it is that I am, right? And standing fiercely and firmly within that. With Sun conjunct Pluto, it asks you to remind yourself of the power of your own unique identity, of the person that you are, and of the life that you've built. Some of you have been forgetting who you are, right? And allowing other people to make you feel smaller or to make you feel insecure. Like, it's so bizarre, but a lot of people actually do get some sort of pleasure around making you feel smaller because they feel insecure in their own life. And it's like a truth that everybody tried to tell us when we were younger, and we're like, there's no way, they can't possibly feel insecure. But truly, people who try to poke out your insecurities and bully you, they don't feel powerful within their own regard. They feel insecure, that their own sense of security is pushing people down to feel better about themselves. And when you can clock that, that's where your power lies, around just clocking that and not playing into their game, right? So when I say about standing up for yourself, I'm not saying you have to be above and beyond or rude. I'm just saying hold your ground. If it's important to you, you have a wedding that week and your boss is trying to pressure you that you need to work on a Saturday, hold your ground. This is important to me. If there's a friendship dynamic and your friend makes a joke that you have asked them not to make because it hurts your feelings, standing your ground around, hey, that's not cool. And standing in your power. Any situation that requires you to make yourself smaller in order to fit in and contort is not a situation that you need to be in. And is that scary? Yes. The energy of Pluto can be scary. It makes us confront our fears, right? It makes us go deep. You need to confront some ways that you have made yourself small, some ways that you have given your power away, right? Sun is sort of a spotlight on it. And with Pluto being the planet of transformation, it also spotlights around the next version of ourselves that we'll need to step into and to look to it with excitement rather than with fear. Pluto will ask you to face those fears, right? But allowing yourself to be excited about this next iteration and who it is that you can be, and being willing to let go of what is no longer serving. Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth. We're in the waning crescent moon. So it really asks us for this spotlight around what is no longer serving me. Is it this power game that we've been playing around you making these comments to me and me just going above and beyond to contort myself for you? Is it this arena of my life where I feel like I have to be something that I'm not? What am I ready to release? And yes, it's scary. Even if it's something that we know isn't serving us, letting go of any sort of comfort zone is terrifying, right? It's very, very scary. But the energy of Pluto asks us, we either have two options. We can evolve or decline, right? And for us to have this brand new start, sometimes we have to face our fears around shedding what we know is no longer serving us, but is what's comfortable. Essentially, Pluto is dragging us out of our comfort zone on Wednesday and asking us to face our fears. Like, what would it look like if you stood up for yourself in this aspect? You know, would you make people mad? Would it be threatening your friendship? Would it be threatening your relationship here? And why are you in environments where you have to make yourself small in order for them to survive? That's important to dial into. Like if you feel like you're constantly having to stretch and contort and hide yourself, maybe it's simply not the environment, the relationship for you. So with Pluto, it asks you to surrender into the transformation and keep your eyes pointed on the future and be open-minded and open-armed to the new iterations of yourselves that will rise from your ashes. Like Pluto is very much the phoenix-like energy, right? And really, with the Sagittarius moon trining Chiron and sextiling Venus in Aquarius, it really asks us to, stand up for ourselves and stand up for our power. One of my clients mentioned this to me, and I thought it was so beautiful around, she's kind of been trapped in a loop that she's observed. And when it came up within a friend of someone trying to make her feel small, she stood up for herself, not because she needed to prove how powerful she was or be overbearing, right? But more so because of the younger version of herself. Like that's what the younger version of herself deserved, was someone who would stand up for her. And now she felt like she was able to. And I just thought that was so beautiful, okay? Like sometimes it could be easier to make ourselves smaller and to accommodate, but think about the past iterations of yourself, right? Think about the younger version of yourself who did not feel powerful, right? How beautiful to come to a place in time where you can stand firmly in the person that you are, the times that you've had to reinvent yourself, the power that you've had to build from the ground up. How can you stand within it? How can you advocate for yourself within it? And I also just want to share, Pluto can be intense, but particularly with the Sagittarius moon sextiling Venus Aquarius, this is really a line for the friendships and the connections and the relationships that you do feel like you are growing within. Like with the Sagittarius moon sextiling Venus in Aquarius, we are in the mood to be around people who are like-minded, people who support our growth, right? With Pluto, it's about going deep. So the connections that we feel like we can be truly intimate with, this is really the person that I am, masked down, not trying to fake the funk or be someone that I'm not or to please everybody. Like this is truly who I am. This is my raw, authentic truth. Wednesday would be a really aligned time to be around those contacts or around that community. On Thursday, the 19th, that morning isn't too terribly productive. Truly, you might have a hard time getting out of bed. The Sagittarius moon squares up with Neptune, so your dreams could be interesting. And you could just be kind of living your life through a sensation of kind of a fog. Of course, the Sagittarius moon is being helped by a sextile to Saturn, but we can find that we're being a little idealistic about what it is that we can get done. And then the moon enters Capricorn at 11:11. How magical is that? PST, of course. And this is the sign of the new moon. And like I said, when it comes to a waning crescent moon, which is the moon phase right before the new moon, we typically do feel more low energy. We can feel more drained. We can really be craving coming inward. We could be craving getting rid of stuff, right? Whether it's processing emotions or getting rid of belongings. I want you to lean into those sensations as they do come to the surface, particularly as we're in this waning crescent phase. And when the moon enters Capricorn, we can find our ambition returns, albeit we might be a little bit more solitary, but we are feeling more driven to want to go out and reach our goals, especially with the Capricorn moon squaring Jupiter in Aries. Try not to take on too much or overstretch yourself when it comes to what it is that you sign up for on Thursday. Just try to be gentle with yourself when it comes to how much you can realistically get done in a day, okay? Like with the harsh aspect of Jupiter, there could be this energy around, yeah, I can do 5 requests for proposals and do this and work through my lunch and do this. Slow and steady with the square to Jupiter, we can be overcommitting ourselves. We can be overstretching ourselves, over contorting ourselves, like one step at a time. If someone asks you, when will this be done? Jupiter and Aries can be a little impatient, so you could be like, end of day, but be realistic. Give yourself a cushion. Be like, okay, maybe I could force it and have it done by today. But since Mercury is not left its shadow yet, right? It's newly direct. I'm going to grant myself a cushion so I really have space to reread and refine. Like there will be a sensation of Thursday around everything needs to happen yesterday. Let me just send this. I don't have time to reread it. Go slow. Mercury may be direct, but it hasn't officially cleared. My love, I will let you know on Magic Monday when it clears, which is like basically forward momentum. We're still sort of in the yellow light territory. So yes, claim the new beginnings that you're feeling drawn towards, but go slow. Notice where it is that you're feeling, whether you're putting pressure on yourself or on everything needs to be done. I have to get these things done. Like everything has a sensation of urgency. Slow and steady, my love. The sun is at the final degree, the 29th degree, because the following day, Aquarius season begins. And you know, for some people, they could be feeling the sun conjunct Pluto the day prior as this suffocating weight of perfectionism or having to face your fears of failure. Like, are your fears of failure keeping you from moving towards your success? Okay, that is something to really tap into with this influence. Because like I said, the energy of Pluto is around facing your fears and understanding that ascending to your power and becoming the person that you're here to be will be you having to get out of your comfort zone, will be you having to face your fears and really noticing where it is that you've kept yourself small by not facing your fears or not putting yourself out there to really arise to your power. Like you could be clocking that. And I just want you to be mindful that with the sun at the 29th degree, you could be feeling this sensation around, I've got to do it all now. It's all got to get done. And with the moon squaring off with Jupiter, like we can be a little sloppy or a little haphazard with it. So just strive for slow, steady, consistent growth on Thursday. Resist that temptation around being overly idealistic around, I can get it all done, no problem. Strive to do 2 or 3 things on your to-do list extraordinarily well, up to your standards, and resist any temptation that you have to speed up. You are on your path, just sinking into that delicious workflow. I love that idea of workflow. My mentor shared this with me and I feel really inspired to share it, particularly on Thursday, is this idea of having a workflow. I love that word, workflow. Around there's just a gentle flow that everything needs to get done and it's in the pipeline and it'll get done. We often feel like everything needs to happen yesterday. There's always this energy of urgency, which again, isn't a bad thing to cultivate, but allowing yourself to be like, okay, it's within the workflow. It'll get done. Allowing yourself to flow into it without having this overwhelm around, it all needs to be done right now. Just understanding this is my priority and then this is my priority and I'm in the flow of my work. It doesn't need to happen all at once, right? I don't need to show up as my final iteration right now. I'm just flowing into the process of learning and evolving. So on Friday, January 20th, the sun ingresses into Aquarius, kicking off birthday season to all of my lovely water bearers, Aquarians. We adore you for your commitment to live a life that is true to yourself, for your appreciation of the bizarre in life and the bizarre within people, for your open arms when it comes to embracing people with their quirks and eccentricities and beliefs. We adore you. I hope you enjoy your season. And just a reminder that Friday the 20th is the first day that I will have my workshop. So you can RSVP for a line below if you want to kick off Aquarius season with me and with a little 2023 astrology alignment workshop, as well as a new moon intention ceremony. RSVP below, also available recorded. And Friday's astrology is clarifying. Like the Capricorn moon does conjoin Mercury, so you can find now that we're slowly but surely getting out of the Mercury retrograde fog, maybe there are certain changes that you want to begin to integrate. Again, go slow. Certainly Mercury has not cleared the shadow, but maybe like what Mercury retrograde brought to the surface is that this particular project that you're feeling resistance on, like it needs a particular shift. Like Friday is a really aligned time to talk about, hey, I've noticed this. How can we dial this in? Like Mercury retrograde overall has been dialing our awareness towards the foundational and the structural issues, you know, and what it is that we've been building, whether it's a project or relationship, and how it is that we can point to that without taking it personally, right? Around this facet of our relationship isn't working. It doesn't mean that we are bad. Or this particular aspect of my work performance hasn't been up to my standards. It doesn't mean I'm bad, right? And I highlight that just because the Capricorn moon does square Chiron. So again, resist the temptation to feel suffocated by your own expectations. Like with the Pluto in the middle of the week, things can feel a little intense. We're putting a lot of pressure on ourselves. And with this energy of communication, I want you to be able to ask for what's come up, what it is that you need, the shifts that would make it the most aligned. Maybe it's organizing your files, organizing the photos on your phone would also be aligned with this Cap moon, meeting up with Mercury, having conversations around what needs to be shifted or let go of. With this happening right before the new moon, you might feel a little bit more withdrawn, and that is totally okay. Even though it's the first day of the season of Aquarius, which is all about friendships and groups and communities, it's okay if you're craving a little bit more time inward to really reflect, to to really recalibrate. And then with the Capricorn moon trining Uranus in Taurus, we can find we're open to novel new solutions, novel new information. And I do find it significant that at the same minute that the sun ingresses Aquarius, the moon meets up with Mercury. Because essentially any time a shift occurs, there is an election chart. So for Aquarius season, as part of the election, the moon will be on Mercury. Essentially, that's the birthday chart of the initiation of Aquarius season 2023. Hope I'm not losing you with my astro nerdist. But I just want to highlight that can be a theme of Aquarius season around communicating the insights and the revelations, perhaps that have come up during Mercury retrograde. Now that we've had this reflection and had this recalibration, that we've noticed the foundational and the structural issues of what needs to be refined and rebuilt, because truly that's what Mercury retrograde in Capricorn was trying to bring to our awareness around what needs to be redone or made stronger, or what is it that we're building, how is it that we can shift it to make it more aligned. With the moon being up with Mercury, it's aligned around beginning to have those conversations. We need to work on this needs to be edited, this needs to be refined, this needs to be let go of. Whether it's reviewing your relationship and observing, hey, this doesn't make you wrong, but this is an arena of our relationship that we need to dial in. Or when it comes to yourself, your project, again, it doesn't make you wrong, it's just dialing in. I actually love myself so much that I deserve the highest quality of what it is that I want to put out there. So again, Capricorn moon is sort of pointing out how things can be made better to arise to the highest of our standards, and Mercury retrograde was drawing our awareness to that as well, and not taking it personally, whether it's revealed certain issues or things that can be made better within your relationship, your project, wherever it is that you are feeling it, not feeling attacked by the gap around where you are now and where it is that you want to be. But rather, with this moon meeting up with Mercury, again, happening at the right initiation of Aquarius season, but rather having the conversations or really clarifying or dialing in the ideas in order to improve those arenas that Mercury retrograde was bringing to your awareness. Again, not getting personally attacked or personally attached to what's being brought to the surface, but rather just seeking ideas and input in order to make the relationship, the project, the being, the best that it can possibly be. On Saturday, the 21st, the Capricorn moon sextiles Neptune in Pisces and then conjoins Pluto in Capricorn. So again, there's an intensity as it relates to our emotional landscape. There could be this feeling, if you ever feel this, when you have a weekend, you're like, oh, I have to do something, I have to make the most of it, and you're putting all this pressure around, should I run, should I clean, should I do all these things? Like, what is it that I can do? Like, I just want to prep you. When it comes to Pluto energy, it can feel very intense, whether it's intense in regards to our identity, which was occurring earlier with Sun on Pluto, around how comfortable or uncomfortable we feel shining our authentic light. And with this one's, our emotions can feel intense. We can be operating from this lens of guilt or obligations or feeling like we need to be doing better, right? The moon enters Aquarius at 10:29 a.m. And the Aquarius new moon exacts at 12:53 p.m. Now, I love this Aquarius new moon because Aquarius as an archetype is all about to thine own self be true, marching to the beat of our own drum, even if it's weird, even if it goes against society's standards or what is expected of us. And it's being bolstered by that Pluto around standing in our truth, even if it's polarizing, even if it's unpopular. I adore the Aquarius energy because it's all about really being able to be committed to our ideals. Like in traditional astrology, Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, which is commitment, right? And it's an air sign, ideas. Like Aquarius, I know it's a very open-minded sign, but Aquarians are very stubborn, rigid. It's a fixed sign when it comes to what it is that they believe in. They stand within their truth, even if it's unpopular, and they stand within their convictions. And that's what this new moon is asking you. Even if it's scary, like this trine to Mars and this sextile with Jupiter, asks you to really be open to this brand new start, even though it will require a new version of yourself, a truer version of yourself, and to build a life where you don't have to hide your weirdness, where it is actually part of your power, your eccentricities, the ways that you have not fit in are actually your superpower. Like the fact that I'm sitting here talking about astrology on a camera is wild to me, because this was a portion of myself and my interests that I hid for so long, and that I kept hidden. And I tried to contort and I tried to be normal, right? Quote unquote. And obviously the collective vibe about astrology has shifted quite a bit. Like now, if I say I'm an astrologer, people are like, oh my gosh, my big three is this. Like it has gotten very mainstream, which I'm so thankful for. But it's wild that I'm sitting here talking about it, because it used to be something that I hid and I thought it was so weird. It was just like my nerdy little passion that I would do, and I wouldn't break up for fear of judgment, right? I would go to my 9 to 5 and just wear pencil skirts and like try to be normal, try to be normal, try to be normal. Don't bring your Pisces cup to work. Try to be normal, try to be normal. And now I'm sitting here being able to share my passion. And I think there's power in your passion, right? So I want you to take a moment to reflect on where you have felt weird. Because I guarantee there's gotta be something magical wrapped in that weird. Like, this Aquarius new moon is for the weirdos, okay? So embrace your inner weirdo, embrace what you have felt like makes you not fit in, right? Stand up for yourself. You are not here to conform. It's been so weird that something that I used to feel like made me really weird and different and something that I needed to hide and low-key live a double life around, to be able to like step into a chapter where I'm sharing that and that people resonate with it. And keep in mind, many people are not into astrology, right? Many people are into astrology, but my style doesn't resonate with them. And that is okay. Like for you, whatever your nerdy little interest is, or whatever is within you that is eccentric or different, right? It's not going to be for everybody, but you can't let the judgment of the people who don't understand keep you from the individuals who are waiting to hear your input, waiting to hear your voice, waiting to hear your style. And that's what I love about astrology, is that I like to think of a birth chart as sort of just like excavating our own essence. Like if I was designed, right? If I chose this birth chart, what was I given? How are my talents embedded into this particular gift that I've been given? And how can I really anchor into that without feeling like, oh, I need to hide this. This is so weird. What if your purpose is wrapped into what it is that you consider weird about yourself? What would it look like to stand within that and to understand it's not going to be popular to every single person, and that is okay. I've started like anchoring in this intention around every single time somebody, makes a rude comment on TikTok or on YouTube. I'm like, I'm so grateful that this individual is leaving my energy to like create space for those who do resonate with my style or my expression. If you dilute your essence to try to appeal to everybody, you appeal to no one. So anchor into the weirdness and the magic that is you, is my advice for this Aquarius new moon. Also, RSVP for my Aquarius new moon workshop where we can talk deeper about this. And then on Sunday, the 22nd, it is the Lunar New Year, Year of the Rabbit. So happy Lunar New Year to all who celebrate. And on Sunday, Uranus stations direct. And it's not the biggest deal when outer planets change directions. They're more commonly retrograde out of the year than they are direct. We feel the personal planets like Mercury, that creates a lot more kind of like disruptions as it relates to our daily life, because Mercury is trade and commerce and communication and technology, things that we interact with as part of our daily life. Uranus, while it is an outer planet, so thus not felt too strongly when it's retrograde, we do feel planets strongly as they shift direction. So expect this weekend to be colored by some Uranus, which is around really wanting to break out of the expectations of where it is that we feel restricted, particularly when we look at Venus, who's conjoining Saturn on the same day. With Venus on Saturn, we can feel limitations as it relates to either our love relationships and how it is that we feel restricted within them. So feeling like for this relationship to survive, I have to kill off or suppress certain components of myself, like feeling stuck or stagnant. There can be a feeling of scarcity as it relates to the love in our life, as it relates to the money within our life. Like with Venus on Saturn, we are butting up against where it is that we feel this sensation around not having enough within our world. We're viewing our relationships through this lens around what will and what will not stand the test of time. So some individuals can feel this call around really wanting to deepen their commitment or really feeling strongly anchored into their connection. That's beautiful. Some individuals can see this isn't going to stand the test of time. If I don't feel true to be my own authentic self, how is it that this relationship will suit me in 10 years time? Like with Uranus, there is this rebellion feeling that I feel that with Venus, Saturn, we are feeling called to break out of structures that feel constricting. I feel like some people will feel this when it comes to their romantic relationship. Some people will feel this in regards to their job. If they feel really stuck and really restricted, there could be a desire to just rebel and quit. Some people can feel it in regards to their aesthetic. If you've tried to like fit in with other people with Uranus, it's like, no, I'm just going to express myself in my own way. Forget these expectations. I just want to share in the spirit of the vibe check, I'm going to share a story of when I stood up for myself. And keep in mind, when I'm talking about rebellion, like please be a rebel with a cause, right? This is such a silly, this was so silly, but it was me rebelling in my own way, or at least standing up for myself in my own way. You know, so I'm going to share something very vulnerable. Okay. I'm going to be very brave here in this moment. I was in a sorority, okay? I cannot believe that in the same Magic Monday, I'm drinking Starbucks and admitting I was in a sorority. Like, I could not be any more basic white girl if I tried in this video. But anyways, in the spirit of Aquarius, it's my truth. I'm being forthright with my truth, whatever. Anyways, I was in a sorority. And in a sorority, there's like these individuals, I forget the actual terminology, but they kind of are part of the alums and they kind of just like hang around to make sure we're following rules or something. I don't know exactly what their role was. Anyways, one of them was a flight attendant and she's a Libra, so she would always be so dialed in, so put together. And being part of a sorority, there is a lot of pressure. There was a particular phrase that was always used, BPPT, perfectly put together. Like there was a lot of pressure around, we always needed to look good, or at least put together in some lens. And I remember we had these meetings once a week that you had to go. You could not go. And I remember I had a huge test that day. I think it was during finals, but I had stayed up the night prior to study. I had this other project the next day. I was just like stressed. So I hadn't washed my hair. It was in a bun. I like tried to put it together, but I did not have time. I was like falling asleep. I was so exhausted. I was so drained. Just physically, I think mentally, emotionally. I just remember a lot was going on with me and I just felt so drained. I just could not put it all the way together, okay? So I had a bun, okay? I had a bun. Sue me, I had a bun. So the individual was a flight attendant and was an alum, so older than us, kind of just there to make sure the sorority was working correctly. I don't know. I had asked her about being a flight attendant because it seemed cool. She's like, I'll write you a recommendation. I was like, great. So on this particular day, after the meeting, she made a beeline for me. And again, this meeting ran late. I had to go home and stay up again, even though I was exhausted to finish the project. I was just drained. I was just zapped. I had nothing left to give. Okay, I had nothing left to give. And she beelines over to me and she's like, Haley, you know, if you did want to be a flight attendant, you would have to learn to do your hair and makeup. And I just could not deal with it. Is it true? It is. Again, it wasn't like this huge grievance being done towards me. I was just so zapped. And I was also just frustrated that there was such an emphasis being placed on what we looked like as women. Like, oftentimes there's a lot less pressure on men to have to be wearing makeup and do their hair and always being put together. Both the financial pressure that's put on women to always be looking good, as well as like a time investment that's taken to doing good. And that week I just didn't have any of it to spare. I did not have any of it to spare. And to this individual, which again, she was very prim and proper. This was not my finest moment, but I was just exhausted. I needed to go home and study. I was like, oh, would I have to wear a bra too? Not my finest moment. She did not like that. She walked away. And needless to say, I did not get a letter of recommendation to be a flight attendant, but I think it was meant to be because truly I probably would have to learn how to do my hair and makeup, but I just found the tone in which it was delivered very demeaning, and I was just frustrated by the expectations that women are put into, especially collegiate women, where we are educating ourselves and to have this pressure around having to be seen in a certain way when it was like a private meeting amongst my sisters. I was frustrated. Keep in mind, I have Aquarius placement, so I do have like this inner rebel sometimes. Yeah, so she didn't really like that. So I'm not saying you have to stand up for yourself like that, like snap at people, but truly observe where it is that you're feeling restricted and where you're feeling called to express yourself. Like maybe being a flight attendant where I had to have my hair and makeup dialed in every single day, maybe that wouldn't be a great fit. And maybe me breaking out of that mold frees me up for building more of a life where I could be myself. Like who knows if I would be sitting here if I had chosen to go towards a a flight attendant and kind of suppress all my weird interests and to dial in so that my hair and makeup always look put together and like everybody else. No shade to any flight attendants at all. It just clearly was not my path. That path was ripped from me. And it just makes me think of this energy because with Venus on Saturn, we can feel pressure around our beauty, expectations, and with the energy of Uranus, it's like wanting to break out of it, wanting to be like, I can't have a bun for one Monday during finals. I can't have a bun. Like, are you kidding me? So anyways, don't be like me. Be a rebel with the cause. Like my cause around allowing me to wear a messy bun every so often. You know, it's not the most important thing in life, but I want you to observe where it is that you're feeling restricted and how it is that you're feeling called to break out of them. Again, with the Aquarius moon squaring off with Uranus, we can be a little bit more emotionally reactive or a little emotionally impulsive. I definitely not advise having a little sassy comeback. You know, that was not my finest moment. But I will say, observe where you're feeling stuck or restricted or constricted or where people are trying to mold you or have you fit a particular mold, and honor the spirit of Uranus, which is this honoring your eccentricities, honoring what makes you weird, honoring expressing your beauty in your own unique way, honoring making your money in your own unique way, honoring your relationship being its own unique way. Maybe you're not feeling pressure from your actual partner. Maybe it's societal pressure around you need to get married. Your relationship needs to be like this. With the energy of Uranus, it asks us to thine own self be true. Like if we build our life based on what is normal, that is the prescription to be unhappy. Like we need to build a life that is authentic to you rather than looking around and being like, what's everybody else doing? And let me mold myself to it. With Uranus, it's like observe where you're feeling pushed or where you're feeling pressured, but honor this call to do your own thing away from the pressures wherever you're feeling it. Financial pressure, love pressure, beauty pressure. So loves, that is our week. The Magic Monday mantra of the week is, my quirks are what make my magic my own. Truly, my love, your unique magic will be wrapped up into where it is that you do not fit in. Like rather than looking at what makes us different through this lens around, oh, I'm so weird, this is so bizarre, I need to hide this. Actually, it's an invitation for you to shine that out brighter, right? Because the ways that you are different are the ways that you are meant to lead or to inspire or to empower, right? And I think it makes the world a lot more interesting, you know, and the only reason I'm sitting here in front of you is because I stopped looking at my eccentricities and my quirks as something that I needed to hide and realized that it was something I needed to shine even brighter. Right? That there was something magical about this nerdy little passion of mine, and to see other people who have gravitated to this work and to my style of sharing it on a quality of something within myself that I hid and was so ashamed of for so long is so cool to see. And obviously when it comes to, you know, anything that we set off, it's not going to be for everybody, and that's okay. Focus on your people, focus on your community, your like-minded souls. That is the nature of Aquarius, how we embrace our weirdness and attract our fellow weirdos. So my loves, that is our forecast. Hooray, Mercury is direct and we have this brand new start. I would still love to see you at Align over the weekend. You can RSVP below and get the recordings if you cannot join live. I cannot wait to connect with you guys. This is just my little like love offering to you all, to have this little free workshop just so I can feel like I can get to know you guys a little bit more, as well as just get excited about the year ahead and what it has in store. So my Instagram handle is @Comet Astrology. My TikTok is the same. I would love to connect with you over there. And until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay magical.